In the quiet farming town of Millhaven, where the mornings smelled of diesel and fresh-cut hay, everyone knew that if something had an engine, sooner or later it would end up in Eli Turner's garage. Eli wasn't much for talk. He preferred the language of wrenches and torque specs, of listening closely to the cough of a tired motor and knowing exactly which bolt to loosen. His shop sat at the edge of town, white paint peeling, an old tin sign creaking in the wind. It wasn't much to look at, but farmers swore it was the most honest place for 50 miles. One late autumn afternoon, when the corn had already been harvested and the air carried that sharp promise of winter, a black pickup rolled into town. It wasn't a local truck. Too clean, too polished. It pulled up outside Eli's garage, and out stepped a tall man in a pressed coat and city shoes that had never seen mud. Eli wiped his hands on a rag and gave him a nod. "You Eli Turner?" the stranger asked. "Depends who's asking." The man smiled faintly. "Name's Warren Hale. I represent a manufacturing group out of Chicago. We recently acquired some farmland nearby. Came with equipment." He gestured toward a flatbed trailer behind the truck. On it sat an old tractor, massive, rusted, and silent. Its once bright red paint had faded to a dull, stubborn brown. The tires sagged. One headlight hung loose like a tired eye. "She hasn't run in 15 years, Hale said. "My team says she's done for scrap." Eli stepped closer. He didn't touch it at first. He just listened. Even in silence, machines told stories. "What do you want with it?" Eli asked. Hale folded his hands. "I was told that if anyone could bring this back to life, it's you. So here's the deal. Fix this tractor, get it running like it used to, and the job is yours." "What job?" "Head mechanic at our new regional operations center. Full benefits. Modern facility. Double whatever you make here." A cold breeze slid through the open garage door. Eli glanced back at his shop. The dented tool chest, the cracked coffee mug on the bench, the old radio that only caught one station clearly. "Why me?" he asked. Hale shrugged. "Reputation." That word lingered in the air. Eli circled the tractor slowly. He finally laid a hand on the hood. The metal was cold, but solid. "You got the keys?" he asked. Hale blinked. "You think it'll start?" "No," Eli said, almost amused. "But I want to hear what it tries to say." The next few days, the whole town buzzed. Word spread fast in Millhaven. People stopped by the garage pretending they needed spark plugs or oil filters, but really, they just wanted to watch. Eli worked alone. He drained sludge black oil, replaced cracked fuel lines, pulled the engine apart piece by piece. His hands moved with patient certainty. When he found a piston scored nearly beyond repair, he didn't curse. He just nodded, as if he'd expected it. On the third night, long after the streetlights flickered on, Hale returned. Eli was elbow-deep in the engine bay. "You're still at it," Hale said. Eli didn't look up. "Machines don't quit just because they're old. People do." Hale studied him. "You could be working in a climate-controlled facility instead of this drafty barn." Eli tightened a bolt and finally met the man's eyes. "Does a climate-controlled facility know Mrs. Carter needs her combine fixed before Sunday? Or that Tom Alvarez can't afford a new transmission until next season?" Hale was silent. On the fifth morning, half the town gathered outside the garage. Farmers in dusty caps, kids on bicycles, even Mrs. Carter herself, leaning on a cane. Eli climbed into the tractor seat. The vinyl cracked under his weight. He adjusted the choke, checked the fuel line one last time. Hale stood nearby, arms crossed, trying not to look. Invested. Eli turned the key. At first, nothing but a dry click. Then a cough. Another. A grinding churn that seemed to shake the whole trailer. And then, the engine roared. Not smooth, not perfect, but alive. A cheer broke out across the lot. Someone actually wiped away a tear. The tractor idled, rattling like it was clearing its throat after a long sleep. Eli listened carefully, adjusting the throttle. The rhythm evened out, steadier with each second. Hale stared, stunned. "I'll be damned." Eli climbed down. "It'll need regular care," he said. "New belts before spring. And don't ignore that knock in third gear." Hale stepped forward and extended his hand. "Congratulations. The job is yours." Eli looked at the hand but didn't take it. "Appreciate the offer," he said. "But I've already got a job." Hale frowned. "You're turning it down?" Eli glanced at the crowd, at the farmers who depended on him, at the kids watching like he'd just performed magic. "This town gave me my reputation," he said quietly. "Wouldn't feel right taking it somewhere else." Hale slowly lowered his hand. Then, unexpectedly, he smiled. "You know," he said, "we still need someone to oversee our local equipment." Maybe not in Chicago. Maybe, right here. Eli raised an eyebrow. Same pay, Hale added. But you stay. The crowd held its breath. Eli looked back at his shop, at the peeling paint and the crooked sign. Then at the tractor, rumbling steady and proud. Bring me the paperwork, he said. And just like that, the legend of Eli Turner grew. Not because he fixed a tractor, but because when opportunity came calling, he fixed it too, on his own terms. Warning disclaimer. This story is a work of fiction. All characters, companies, locations, and events are imaginary. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. 1500 WAD.